History isn't just about battles and politics. It's also packed with shocking scandals. From a US president accused of secret affairs to a Roman emperor throwing wild, deadly parties, the past is full of jaw-dropping moments. But which historical scandal is the craziest of them all? Stick around as we count down the top 8 craziest scandals about historical figures. Starting off at number 8, imagine being King of England and giving it all up for love. Sounds like a movie plot, right? But this actually happened. Meet King Edward VIII. Charming, stylish, and totally not interested in following the royal rulebook. Then came Wallis Simpson, an American socialite, twice divorced, who stole Edward's heart. But here's the problem. The British monarchy wasn't exactly a fan of a divorced woman becoming queen. The country was in an uproar. The government, the church, even his own family told him, it's the throne or Wallis. Choose one. And Edward? Well, he chose love. In 1936, after just 11 months as king, Edward made history. He became the first British monarch to voluntarily step down, saying he couldn't rule without the woman he loved. His younger brother, George VI, yep, the guy from the King's Speech, was suddenly thrust onto the throne, totally unprepared. And Edward, he married Wallis and spent the rest of his life in exile, living in luxury, but forever an outsider. Fast forward to today, and royal romances still make headlines. But Edward VIII? He takes the crown for the most shocking love story in royal history. Coming up next at number 7, did you know a vice president of the United States straight up murdered a founding father in a duel? Yeah, this actually happened, and it's one of the wildest scandals in American history. It was the year 1804. Alexander Hamilton, yes, the guy on the $10 bill, and Aaron Burr, who was at the time vice president, absolutely hated each other. Their beef, politics, power, and a whole lot of ego. Burr was furious because Hamilton had insulted him one too many times. So, like a true 1800s gentleman, Burr challenged Hamilton to a duel. That's right, a shootout at dawn to settle an argument. On July 11th, 1804, they met at Weehawken, New Jersey. It was all very dramatic. They stood 10 paces apart, pistols loaded, hearts racing, and then bang! Burr's bullet struck Hamilton right in the gut. Hamilton also fired, but totally missed. Some say he did it on purpose. Others think he just had bad aim. Either way, Hamilton collapsed, and a day later, he was dead. Now, you'd think killing a founding father would ruin someone's career, right? And yeah, it kinda did. Burr was charged with murder, fled to the South, and later got caught up in a wild conspiracy to start his own country. No joke. This duel wasn't just a scandal. It was the ultimate political meltdown. Imagine if today's politicians settled arguments with duels. Yeah, wild. And that is how a vice president literally killed a founding father. What do you think? Would Hamilton and Burr have just settled this over Twitter today? Next up at number 6, imagine a scandal so insane that it helped spark a revolution. Marie Antoinette, the Queen of France, was already unpopular, but in 1785, her name got dragged into one of the wildest scams in history, and she had nothing to do with it. Here's what happened. The schemer, a woman named Jeanne de la Motte. The target, a massive diamond necklace worth millions. Jeanne convinced a gullible cardinal that Marie Antoinette secretly wanted the necklace but couldn't publicly ask for it. She even hired a look-alike to meet him at night and pretend to be the queen. The cardinal believed he was acting on Marie Antoinette's orders. He arranged to buy the necklace on her behalf, thinking she'd reward him later. But nope. Jeanne took the necklace and had it broken apart, selling the diamonds. Boom. The scam was exposed. The cardinal was arrested, and rumors spread like wildfire. Even though Marie Antoinette was innocent, the public saw her as a greedy, out-of-touch queen drowning in luxury. This scandal fueled the hatred that led to the French Revolution. Let them eat cake? She never said it, but after this mess, nobody cared. A few years later, Marie Antoinette lost more than just her reputation. She lost her head, a diamond necklace, a royal scam, a fallen queen. History's wildest scandals are stranger than fiction. Next up at number 5, did Napoleon Bonaparte overshare? Oh, absolutely. I'll be home in 3 days. Don't bathe. Wait, what? Napoleon wasn't just a military genius. He was a hopeless romantic, with a twist. His love letters to Josephine were full of passion, devotion, and way too much bathroom talk. My love, my little Josephine, I have left you but one day, and already I smell you in my heart. Bro, what? Turns out Napoleon was obsessed with Josephine's natural scent. He begged her not to bathe before he returned from battle. Imagine delivering that letter across war-torn Europe. Am I winning battles? Yes. But is Josephine scrubbing away her essence? Scandalous. Historians believe Napoleon's letters weren't just romantic oversharing. They reveal how personal hygiene was, very different in the 1800s. Baths were rare, perfumes masked odors, and Napoleon, well, he was just ahead of his time in scent appreciation. He may have conquered Europe, but his greatest obsession? A woman who smelled like history. Love letters? Sweet. Napoleon's letters? A whole new level of TMI. Would you keep your lover's essence for them? Halfway there, there at number 4, Paris, 1677. The court of Louis XIV was dazzling, extravagant, and deadly. The affair of the poisons was one of history's wildest scandals, filled with poison, black magic, and even satanic rituals. It all started when noblemen and women began mysteriously dropping dead. The culprit, a network of fortune tellers, witches, and poison dealers lurking in the shadows of Versailles. And the worst part? Some of the king's closest courtiers were customers. One of the ringleaders, La Voisin, was a fortune teller, but also a poison supplier. She allegedly held black masses, sacrificing infants and mixing deadly potions for nobles who wanted to eliminate their rivals, or even their husbands. Things got out of control when the king's own mistress, Madame de Montespan, was accused of trying to use love spells and poison to keep Louis in her arms forever. The scandal rocked the court, leading to over 30 executions and a massive cover-up. The king was so freaked out, he banned witchcraft and poison-making forever. But by then, Versailles had already been bathed in scandal and blood. Up next at number 3, did Emperor Nero really burn Rome? And did he blame the Christians for it? This scandal is one of the wildest moments in history. It's 64 AD. The mighty Roman Empire is in the middle of a crazy firestorm. A huge blaze breaks out in the heart of Rome, spreading through buildings for 6 days. The city is in chaos. People are running, screaming, and losing everything. But here's where it gets bizarre. While the flames are raging, Nero, well, he's playing music. Or at least, that's what the rumors say. Imagine your city burning to the ground, and your ruler is just strumming a lyre like it's some kind of concert. After the fire, Nero is looking for someone to blame, and guess who gets thrown under the bus? The Christians. He accuses them of starting the fire, even though there's no real evidence. But why? Because the Christians were an easy scapegoat. What follows next is crazy. Christians are tortured, arrested, and executed in some of the most brutal ways imaginable. Nero even goes so far as to have them set on fire to light up his garden parties. Yikes. So was Nero behind the fire? History's a little sketchy on that, but one thing's for sure, his twisted blame game makes this one of the biggest scandals in history. Burning Rome? Blaming the innocent? Classic Nero. Talk about a ruler who made history for all the wrong reasons. What do you think? Was he guilty or just a bad scapegoat? Coming up next at number 2, did you know King Henry VIII's reign was full of shocking twists, but one of the craziest scandals? His execution spree. Grab your popcorn because this one's a royal roller coaster. Henry VIII is most famous for his 6 wives, but the real jaw-dropper was how he handled his marriages. His obsession with producing a male heir led to a string of brutal decisions. It all started when his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, couldn't give him a son. So, Henry decided to break from the Catholic Church, creating the Church of England, just to divorce her. But that wasn't the only shocking move. Next, Anne Boleyn, Henry's second wife, gave birth to a daughter, Elizabeth. Henry wanted a son so bad he accused Anne of adultery, incest, and treason. Bam! Executed. He didn't stop there. Catherine Howard, his 5th wife, was executed on similar charges. And let's not forget Thomas More, his once best friend, who got the axe for refusing to accept Henry as the head of the church. By the end of his reign, Henry had executed 2 of his wives, several close allies, and even a few rivals. A monarch obsessed with power and control, Henry's reign became a wild ride of betrayal, execution, and scandal that shook the throne and left the kingdom forever changed. Talk about the ultimate royal drama. And at last but not least, King Leopold II of Belgium, a monarch who ruled with greed, cruelty, and a chilling thirst for power. But behind the crown, there's a dark, sinister secret. In the late 1800s, Leopold claimed the Congo as his personal property. But what started as a so-called humanitarian mission quickly turned into one of the most horrifying acts of colonial exploitation in history. Leopold's empire was built on rubber, but to harvest it, he forced the Congolese people into grueling labor, often through torture and murder. Villages were destroyed and thousands perished. He didn't just exploit the land. Leopold turned the Congo into his own personal slaughterhouse, abusing, mutilating, and even executing anyone who dared resist. One chilling tactic? Cutting off the hands of workers as punishment. No wonder he's known as the Cannibal King. His reign of terror is one of the darkest chapters in history. It wasn't until international outrage forced him to relinquish control that the world woke up to the horrors of Leopold's Congo. But the damage was done. King Leopold II is remembered not for his crown, but for the blood he spilled in the name of greed. His scandal is a reminder that power unchecked can lead to unimaginable horror.